All right. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Big Apple White Rose, a baseball podcast coming to you from two very different cities, York, Pennsylvania, and New York City. That my co-host is Brian Wagner, and I am Nick Diminich. We are a couple of baseball guys that met at NYU back in the day, 10 years ago already. Shockingly started NYU 10 years ago this year, which is how you know we're getting old. And I think we've been talking about doing this podcast for like 5 years at this point. And I guess a positive of the world on Zoom and living in a virtual world of recording and having digital and audio equipment ready is we're able to coordinate this. So we are going to be here once a week at least, giving our 2 cents on the best game ever created and just how we see it, both from the past, going in the past, and going forward. We're very, very hyped for a full 2021 season, unlike the shortened 2020. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be great, I think.
It is back. Baseball is back. I'm excited. You want to go into let's let everybody know who our favorite teams are.
Yes, well, I mean, Brian being born and raised in Queens and myself being born and raised on Long Island, you can't escape the New York Mets. We're very Mets centric, very Mets heavy.
For better or worse.
For most of the time for worse. Sometimes it's better. We both bleed the blue and orange very, very strongly, and I don't think we'll ever give it up, no matter where we are.
I think that's how we bonded. I think we kind of had the misery of New York Mets.
Absolutely, especially in a sports management program loaded with kids from both internationally and across the country, where you had to deal with so many other fans of different teams. We had to hold it down.
How hard was it to explain being a Mets fan and being a baseball fan, first of all, to a bunch of soccer bros and basketball goons?
Well, the European kids laugh at you and they think there's something wrong with you for watching it. And then the certain kids from across the country, like San Francisco, wink wink, Ben, while the Giants were rattling off 3 World Series in 5 years or whatever it was. That was frustrating. So yeah, it's and also being in New York City, surrounded by mostly Yankee fans, an annoying amount of Yankee fans.
The worst.
Rough. So we're both tough.
New York, Queens tough. There you go. So, all right, there's a lot to cover. So, let's just start with the 2020 season. We'll just touch on it since you can probably find so many articles online talking about that shortened season, all that stuff. But what do you think, Nick?
I mean,
legit asterisk.
Yeah. So I think this is the perfect way to start it off. And I think it's actually the way I feel is not exactly how I expected to feel, to be honest with you. I do think that the season should have an asterisk, straight up. 2020, I do think should have it. I don't think it was indicative of who the best team was. I don't think it was indicative of what the marathon of a baseball season is. And for that, Dodgers World Series and all of the stats that took place to kind of hold the same weight, I can't really agree with it.
I'm the opposite here. So I know you kind of had every team and their mother besides the Mets make the playoffs, but you really just had 2 teams that were under 500 that made it. So that's you had Milwaukee and you had Houston, and Houston was kind of an anomaly. Milwaukee, same thing. They're a good team. The only team that really made it that really shouldn't have made it is the Marlins. But other than
that, meanwhile, I said that in the beginning. I have a text message to you from July saying even the Marlins can make it this year. I said it. I knew it, dude.
I thought the Mets were gonna do it because 60 games is about their collapse time. So.
They're usually good for 40 wins in the first 60 games.
Exactly. So, but no, I think. A lot of people say, well, this is the toughest season because of COVID, all that type of stuff. That I'm not, obviously has its hurdles and uniqueness. That I'm not too much into. But to me, once you make it to the postseason, kind of all the bad teams were filtered out. You kind of
Yeah, I guess the only reason I don't think of it as so legit is because I guess the beauty of baseball is 162 games, 6 months long of playing every single day,
consistency. Yeah.
throwing the baseball every single day. And I mean, some teams don't win just because of that, because their guys aren't strong enough. And it was almost like, you guys, I mean, look, the Dodgers they've been in the World Series. How many times have we seen it? We were at freaking 2018 together when the Red Sox clinched it. Like,
That's right.
I mean, that like, so it's not like the best team. They probably were the best team, and they're gonna get their ring. And Kershaw's got his ring, and all those guys are good, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just the number of games that does it for me. It's not even the fans. It's not even anything. It's not even the expanded playoff. Like, whatever, fine. More teams won. More teams were in. Who cares? But it's more of just the lack of quantity that kind of cheapens it a bit. But I don't know. There were hurdles in and of itself. So good for them, I guess.
What do you think of the award winners? We got Jose Abreu, MVP of the American League, and Freddie Freeman, MVP of the National League.
Yeah, I mean, both deserving, both crushed it. I mean, Jose has been flying under the radar for a while now. Obviously, he's been an all-star. He's had numbers that people know him and his name. But as far as the leadership and basically what's happening with that team, even though they traded Fernando Tatis a couple of 5 years ago now for
Don't talk
James
about
Shields.
that.
Yeah. But I mean, so it's definitely deserving. And I mean, God knows, as a Mets fan, we've seen Freddie Freeman just put up MVP numbers virtually every game he plays against us. So I was kind of surprised that was the first time winning it. But
yeah, I would give it to him every year.
exactly. If he played the Mets every game, he would have it every year.
Yeah, no, hey, look at it this way for the White Sox. It saved them $340 million.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, they've allocated the funds, and it's not like they haven't built, and they have Tim Anderson. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have a shortstop. If they had a black hole at shortstop, like just an endless pit,
Right.
they would never live it down. That would be one of those cursed situations. But they have a really, really good player in Anderson, borderline getting great.
Not like the Pirates who gave up Glass now and Austin Meadows.
No, that's funny that, yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, the Pirates are I think the saddest story going right now.
They are
Terrible. It's terrible.
They are the saddest. It's just like every year, just cross them off the list. There you go.
And even after they lost even after they traded McCutchen and Marte, they still had pieces. They still had Josh Bell. They still had a couple guys, Glasnow, and then they made the Archer trade, which was obviously the beginning of the downfall. That was horrendous, and we called that at the time. That was just awful. But I don't know. They're clearly gutting it for payroll too. That's another thing. Like, and listen, everyone got banged by the pandemic, but bro, you own a baseball team. I think there's got to be a floor set somewhere.
You know what creates the floor though? It's a salary cap. Yeah.
Cap it. No cap. I mean, we're going no cap. So I know. I mean, I know.
I'm pro cap. I think it's better for everybody. There's a cap, there's a floor, and there's you got teams in the NBA like Milwaukee Bucks being a good team. You got Minnesota.
Yeah.
You got
$100 million contracts.
Small market team.
I can't watch the Pittsburgh Pirates have a payroll that's less than what Bryce Harper's about to make himself. Like, I mean, that's just, come on. I mean, as a player, like, how do you sit there and even take that? Like,
it's a shame.
I don't even care
it's a shame too for the sport.
They're one of the best storied franchises. And
storied franchises, sick uniforms, sick ballpark. You've been to
amazing stadium, great fan, really, really nice fans, like genuinely welcoming fans. Even when we were there fully geared up in Mets stuff for 2 days in a row, all the Pirates fans were really welcoming, really nice. Thanks for coming to the stadium. This is great. And I was like, my pleasure. This thing's beautiful. And now I'm in York, Pennsylvania. So that's one of the teams out here that people are definitely a fan of. It's a lot more Pittsburgh, Baltimore fans out here than Philly. People don't really mess with Philly here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Baltimore.
Think about that though. You're close to two of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball.
Oh yeah, I'm under an hour from Camden. I'm gonna definitely, if they have fans in there and it's somewhat accessible to get tickets, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg or know a season ticket holder. I mean, why not? I'll drive 55 minutes. I would drive, that was the distance from my house on Long Island to Citi Field anyway. So, or time wise. So
why not?
Why not give it a shot?
You could watch that AL East, watch some Yankees, watch some Red Sox, watch some Rays.
The Jays, freaking George Springer Jays.
That's right. Vlad, Biggio, and Bichette. It's a good team.
Vlad was like, yeah, we're gonna get more mobile this season, and then like he lost weight, and then I think he put it back on already.
That's where his power comes from.
That's what I think too. Like, dude, you're in the league with the DH forever. Just DH, dude. No shame. Just hit bombs.
Yeah, I think after I saw him in the home run derby in Cleveland. Just do what you're doing. Just do what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's a good example because Alonso is in that too, and he's another one, bro. Just get ready to DH because he said the other day, "Oh, I'll always be a first baseman." Yeah, you know what? You will probably be for when there's no DH, and then the second there's a DH, you're gonna be a DH, man.
Hell, if there was a DH right now, I think Dom Smith is the better fielder.
Oh yeah, 100%. I want Dom in the field, and also you got to get Dom's bat in there. I mean, Dom is
guaranteed.
Look, dude, the last game we were at, I mean, I don't know about you, but you and I went to the final game of 2019 Mets.
That's the last game.
Dom's, yeah. I mean, dude, that's the last time fans were in the stadium. September of 19, and Dom Smith hit the walk-off.
That's right. Like consolation prize for that.
So Dom has got my last walk-off homer, my last home run, my last pitch scene. He cranked it.
That's right. I forgot about that. Well, what a year, 2020. I had fun watching it though. I was just abusing the MLB.TV, just switching from game to game. When there was that one day where they had playoff games from 12 in the afternoon to 12 in midnight. That was the greatest day of all time. Wait, it's probably a little too much baseball, but
that's one of those things where the regular people are like, dude, like even I can't watch this. But yeah, I mean, that's it's gonna get, if they do it, I mean, it's something for them to keep in mind to do again, because you do that again even with fans, like a marathon all day. You just make it basically a holiday event, like other sports have the same thing, like NBA on Christmas goes all day long. Like we can do one a year of that, of something.
It's exciting. It's just it kind of goes through the storyline. It's like, all right, it alternates. You go National League Division Series, then you go to the this is wild card, American, national, kind of everybody who's going to end up facing each other anyway.
That's honestly why I didn't mind the expanded playoff. Like, I don't see, I mean, I obviously see the negative of like, if the under 500 teams squeak in, or if sometimes you get those years where there aren't a lot of good teams, like legitimately good. Right. So then you run into the problem of like, all right, we're watching not quality baseball, like just bad baseball. But I don't know, a year where and then sometimes you get the years where like the really good 90 win team like doesn't make the playoffs.
Right.
And that sucks because they're usually loaded with multiple all-stars of that year. So
and you want to see them nationally.
Oh, of course they deserve a shot. I mean, obviously, emphasize winning the division and stuff. And I think that they should now reward the division stuff more if they keep it somewhat of an expanded thing. Or best record has to get something like you can choose your, I don't know, you can get freaky with it. Like you can choose your opponent.
First pitch is underhand.
Well, you can like choose your opponent, or like you choose one of their starters to automatically sit out a game.
But let's bring on all the gimmicks.
Yeah, well, that's another thing with the gimmicks. Like the guy on, I can't do, like I cannot agree with the guy on second. I can't agree with that. That's rough. Who you charging earn run to?
I don't know. That's a good
then someone
question.
Else's ERA is gonna go up.
We have to look that up. When we get a research team, we'll have a research team figure that out.
Interns up in here.
But that's right. That's I didn't mind it for the pandemic. I don't think we should have that normally. I do I did like the 7-inning doubleheaders though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Not bad, but we could probably just do away with doubleheaders. Even though I am a traditionalist and I like the idea of like, let's sit at a baseball field for 8 hours and soak it all in, and it's traditional doubleheader. But
make it a day,
It's nowadays no one stays for the second. If it's traditional, no one stays for the second game. People check out. It
I
becomes just
gotcha.
a dead game. The team winds up sleepwalking because these guys are not used to it like they used to be used to it. Last time they probably played doubleheaders was 7 innings in college, so they're used to only 7 innings. So
Right.
or high school, whatever. I don't know. So I don't mind it. If that's one that stays, so be it, and squeeze two in and play 14 innings. But then you really run into an issue when it's, oh, sure, now we're going to extra innings in the first game, extra innings in the second game.
That one goes 9. Yeah,
and then it's like, great, what did we just do here? Because
Right.
you were not planning for it. I mean, the rosters are more flexible now, which is good, but I don't know. I would just do one game, 9 innings.
For what it's worth, from an on the field standpoint, at least it got us seeing something new. That's what I appreciate.
Oh yeah. Oh
was,
yeah. I mean, for a while, this was the king game of you don't even know how it'll turn out because they don't change anything.
Right.
Now it's arguably going a little bit too much of the trying too hard to change stuff for the sake of changing.
Well,
but
they saw the opportunity.
I think it'll settle. I think, they'll do change. We might have one season with stuff and then they're like, nope, no, backtrack. Like you see other sports do it. Like, I mean, all NFL, try, we were going to review, penalty pass interference calls. That lasted one season. They got rid of that. And it happens all the time with stuff and you wind up forgetting it. So it's not that big of a deal.
Might as well. I think changes for the better. Like you said, baseball's been the sport that's been the slowest to change. So I think you try something new, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, change it again.
Yeah,
so you could always
exactly. As long as you don't change the distance between the bases or the pitching mount, when you start messing with the fundamentals of the actual physicality of the game, it's over. But I don't, it's not like they're going to do that.
Well, I don't think any changes are going to happen. Well, based on the CBA,
right? So that's another hold our breath moment.
It's for another episode.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Another big thing besides the on the field, it was a lot off the field. The culmination of a lot of things, building up for a few years when it comes to the intersection of sports and activism. And so I guess, obviously this could be considered like a political conversation. So the issues aside, which, we can kind of address that at some point some other day, but more looking at the more acceptance of activism during the actual sporting event. I think that's, a lot of people, if you look on Twitter or if you look on, some articles that are written, it's kind of that cross between alienating a fan base or utilizing that platform. You have people, pundits, quote unquote, saying, shut up and dribble. And you have others sort of champion or cheering that sort of activism. So what do you think?
I mean, I think a huge reason why that it was displayed on field last year was because of the timing of everything. It was July and there were things happening in the country at that very moment that we were all watching. Tied in with 3 months, very, very the beginning of being all locked inside and focusing on stuff and not having any other outlets. So had those events not all culminated at the same time, do I think it would have been as big of a display? Personally, no. I think, everything is timing. Everything is somewhat PR. I mean, not saying that they don't make a difference, money and stuff makes a difference and bringing acknowledgement to certain things does. But I mean, I think that for as many people, I mean, baseball has this issue because they have a declining, population of Black players from inner cities. That's just a fact. It's been declining, it peaked in the 70s and it's been going down ever since, which is just kind of mind blowing. But that's a popularity thing. That's other sports gaining popularity. Baseball being baseball, being slow. And I don't know if that, the whole intersection of it, is that going to then open eyes of people in the inner cities and be like, oh, you know what? Now I want to play baseball. I mean, you can even forget the alienating people. because a lot of the people that say that they're not going to watch are a lot of talk, and
A lot of talk.
most of them are just because it's whatever, it is what it is, because there's only one baseball. So a lot of it's a lot of talk. Now you will run into people that actually don't watch. Okay, so what? It's fine. Don't watch it then. Like a lot, because a lot of those people have other issues with the game. Like they just don't like the way the style.
They were looking
Like
for an
all
excuse.
their like a childhood idols are dead now. So like they're having a hard time coping with regular life. So whatever.
Right.
Like you don't watch it for the game. Those people, I feel like, didn't really watch it for the game anyway. They watched it for their boyhood like hero stuff. But
Right.
yeah, I just think it is what it is. We're never going to avoid it. It's also kind of a reflection of the rest of society, how everything is intertwined, no matter whether for better or for worse, whether you want it to be or not. We're all constantly interacting. We're all constantly online. We're all constantly, whether it's in person or on Twitter or whatever, the internet. You can't like really get away from people unless you shut your phone off, which no one does anymore. So, or live like a hermit in the woods, but like we're not doing that. So it's really no way to avoid it. It's no way to just be like, oh, it's not happening, like everything is sunshine and rainbows, because then
Right.
I think you're ignorant. That's a form of ignorance, just pretending things don't happen.
Right. I wish it didn't have to, but I do understand the utilization of the platform, and as horrible of the circumstances that
oh yeah,
it was under, as horrible as those circumstances was, and how hopefully one day they don't exist anymore. But you're right. It was sort of that. I'll use that term perfect in the most negative way possible, but
right,
perfect storm.
yeah,
that kind of that kind of all came together. But at the same time, it has been building up for years. I mean, you've had athletes being activists since the 60s, since the 50s, since the 30s. Look at the Jesse Owens, right? So you've had that.
baseball's the American sport. Baseball's the American sport, and baseball had the first. Jackie was the first name guy, but obviously a bunch of other people came before him and immediately after him. Larry Doby was a couple months after him, in a different league when the leagues were segregated even more. So it's like
even the Negro leagues were
right
noise and had talent.
Oh yeah,
sold out and made
some of the
money.
best guys ever never got a shot.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's pertinent, and I think you can't just pretend it doesn't happen. My thing is, back then when those things were going, like, not that we're not living through it everyday life, but like those guys couldn't even go to the same hotel and stuff. And like nowadays the guys, like, they hop in the Lambo and they're back in their cloud nine, like a lot of athletes. And it's one thing to be vocal activist and supporter when everything is culminating into one thing, but like, let's see everyone continue to do that then, like, because these changes that didn't just happen. This is a years long battle that's going to happen.
I see that a lot
every day.
I see that a lot when you see all the corporations, like the sponsors or the leagues themselves, sort of run into that performance activism.
Yeah, see, that's a great term. It's don't do it just for the gram, like, honestly.
Right.
Honestly, that's what I mean. Like, these people should do it and not post anything anywhere. And then when the changes happen in society, or slowly but surely, or more young Black players are coming into the game, like, oh, why'd you do this? Oh, because like when Jimmy Rollins retired, he came and he built an academy in Oakland or whatever. Or, I'm just giving an example. I don't even know if that's true or not, but like, or anyone, like some of the one of the most popular, accomplished players of the last 20 years, a guy won an MVP, World Series, like, from Oakland. Like, if something like that was happening more behind the scenes and less like, look what I'm doing and look at all this stuff, look how great this is, and slogans and shit, like, sometimes you have to just do things and let's see the results after.
Right. I mean, coming from like that mark, I understand the awareness point as well. Some people might, do what's it called? Set an example is sort of the
lead by example.
Yeah. So I get that, and I get the other stuff, but yeah, I think it's a bigger topic. We're flying through topics here just because it's the first episode, but this is something that I think it's here to stay, it's super deep, and just one point in our topic of conversation, but it's definitely something that we should bring up at some
Oh
point down
yeah,
the line.
like I said, you can't ignore this stuff. And also, it's an unfortunate fact of life. Last thing I'll say on it is like there's always going to be really super ignorant, like really not cool people that pretty much ruin a good time. And I think if you figure out a way to basically ignore them without letting them affect you, everyone's better for it. So
Or the noise.
let them boycott, let them not watch. It's fine. It's totally cool.
They'll still buy their gear. They're still
And even
consume in
if
some other way.
even if they completely don't, like it's not a high enough number to knock down the bottom line, bro. These TV companies are backing the trucks up. Like, come on.
Those barks are bigger than the actual bikes.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
So back on the field, what you think of the off season? So obviously for both of us, huge acquisition for the Mets, but with Lindor and Carrasco, but huge off season for the Mets.
Biggest acquisition was the owner. I mean, there's like a holiday.
That's true. That was the biggest addition by subtraction, but also addition by addition, adding a couple more billions.
Knowing that we never have to say, like, I'm literally never going to say the other guys' names again. Like, knowing that we don't have to say their names again because they're only now a 5% minority owner. That's it. That's all you got to tell me. I don't, great, cool. Steve Cohen, always on Twitter, always got billions. It's great.
I don't care any of that stuff.
Literally, as long as it wasn't the other two, it was an improvement. And then great, he's got a checkbook and he's eccentric. Great, awesome. Now, get it done. Also, though, I will say, not to hate on Sandy, but like the retread of someone who's been here already is kind of annoying. But whatever, it's fine.
He does seem to be a little more loose.
Yeah, I know, right? All of a sudden, this guy, he's all upbeat and stuff, and he's all like, I don't know. I mean, also, same as last year with the Beltran hire. They hire a GM, and he's gone in 30 days.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Mets are gonna Mets.
I think, and I think, me, I'm a huge Beltran fan. But how unlucky was the Mets in that one? Like, the Astros won a World Series. The Red Sox won a World Series. The Mets are the only team affected that did not win a World Series.
Oh, well, between the pandemic and now all the sexual like misconduct stuff, that makes the cheating of the Astros look like nothing. Honestly, I think the Mets look like they totally jumped the gun, and the Red Sox.
The vetting process and all that type of stuff. Like, I mean, Mickey Callaway too, who was here for.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like there's no, but I mean, I think they jumped the gun on firing Beltran as the Red Sox jumped the gun on Cora and the Astros on Hinch. I think it's too reactionary. You can't be hiring and firing like that for something like that. The sex stuff. The harassment and that's
get out of here, right?
Out of here. I mean, you're a weird, these guys are weirdos anyway. Like, I mean, if you can't tell, I mean, you got to do a better job, interviewing people. But the Beltran thing, come on, man. Come on. Like,
yeah, I mean, now you got Cora back and you got Hinch.
That's what I mean. Now all of a sudden it's all good and fine. Like, we had a pandemic 60-game season. You couldn't have just suspended him suspend him for the year. Literally is what it should have been.
I think he did get suspended, but then he also got fired.
Yeah, exactly. That means the firing and you know why they fired him so early? Because they had just PR guy running the show, Brody. That guy his whole life is PR. It's sad. It's all through Twitter. We got totally taken for a ride for 2 years.
I do think Beltran got a raw deal. I agree with, like, should have been like Rojas, take the reins for 1 year.
Fill
you
in for bench a year. Coach. Exactly. Yeah, fill in for or dude, if he really killed it, be like, listen, now you have a shot to go get a job somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's so reactionary. It's so knee jerk.
I'll tell you what, though, not to downplay Rojas. He does seem to be really well liked from what I hear inside the clubhouse and all that type of stuff. Players seem to really like him. Players seem to be motivated to play for him.
Yeah, and he also seems like he's chill and not like Mickey Callaway. It turned out like he was apparently like a real hardo all the time. And then
from what I heard,
was an
Well,
old guy, you know.
Collins, I think, was lovable when it comes to like the lovable grandpa type of
Yeah,
thing.
but a lovable grandpa. Like Rojas is the dude where, like, I mean, Syndergaard says it like, oh, like hitting the weights and stuff. You know, like he's another bro that just happens to call the shot. Plus, his lineage. He's like in the game, knows the
Right.
game. Parents, families, brothers, whoever. The
We
others.
could be doing a lot worse than Rojas.
Yeah,
Like
let him
he's
roll it. Let him roll it.
yeah.
Now, like, and just fill the team with talent, it'll happen. Trust me. It's not rocket science. You know, these guys don't make that much of a difference.
Well, any other moves kind of
I
your
mean,
interest during this offseason?
I wasn't really crushed when they didn't get Springer. I mean, it kind of would have been cool, would have been nice. But he is 30. He never really, I mean, he puts up monster numbers, don't get me wrong, but he
Especially in
wasn't.
the postseason.
Yeah, I know. Especially, yeah, World Series MVP, but it's more so, I don't know. He's missing like that half a step of like superstar factor that like other guys like an Arenado gets traded for, or we got Lindor. Like I would take Lindor over obviously Springer. I
Anytime.
wanted Bauer. I wanted Bauer because of like he's an asshole. And I think that every team could use that. And I think it's good when he's good, but
We got Syndergaard.
it's yeah, I know, and Stroman and all these guys. It's all yeah, right. It's too many, but I,
I
yeah,
like
I don't
so
know.
I know you're talking about like the attitude. I think Bauer, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for Bauer.
Oh yeah,
So I think, when it comes to like attitude, I think we got that. I think we got that edge that we need
yeah.
to.
I'm more saying if you collect them all, then no one else can have them. That's it would have been the ultimate max overload of like, oh my gosh, how do you guys even like finish a game without starting a fight? But
So
yeah, it's a lot of money, and if it would have, if them signing him to that much money would have prevented like a Lindor extension, or if they're going to extend Conforto, or if they're going to extend Syndergaard, like I like Bauer, but he kind of took him a while to turn it on, and not to be that guy, he's using sticky shit to spin the ball, like that's not even that can't even be questioned anymore.
I
I
don't
think
know. You had the Garrett Cole thing, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
I
Uh,
all of a sudden, a
well,
guy 30 starting to win Cy Youngs. Yeah, okay.
hey, DeGrom was a late bloomer too,
True.
uh, but
True.
since when was Colorado owned by the same person as the Pirates?
That's a sad state of affairs too, because now they have two guys wasting away. Now they have Story and Blackman. Like at this point,
Blackman's the sucks with Blackman because
he's on the downswing. He's
that
probably
guy's
on the
good.
downside. But
He also like his best years are sort of wasted, kind of an obscured. I mean, he's made his money or whatever, and
and
definitely
I don't. Yeah,
won
I
batting
mean,
titles. But
they kind of they whiffed on the LeMahieu. That's what it was, and that I think kickstarted the realization of, oh shit, like we can't catch up now. Like they signed Dan Murphy, they let LeMahieu go to the Yankees, and they signed Daniel Murphy,
he's
and
done too, right?
yeah, he retired, he's out. Yeah, oh yeah, no, and LeMahieu goes in and almost wins an MVP or whatever, batting title.
Came in third
Yeah,
MVP
so
voting.
I mean, that, and then the Arenado trade, man, that like sickens me. Like I feel so bad for them. I still feel so bad for the Rockies fans. It's awful.
So Story's entering his final year, and here's not to make this
He's getting traded.
a Mets podcast, but that's our team. Uh, so I think the number one thing the Mets should do is focus on Conforto and Lindor. Those two need to resign ASAP. Give them the house. Like they deserve it. But when you look at positions, and I didn't have a chance to look at the outfield class next year, but that shortstop class next year, if we do end up whiffing on Lindor.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, they can't whiff on Lindor. These people,
But
they're riot.
but look at right. But look at the class this offseason. You got Correa, you got Trevor Story, you got Baez, you got Corey Seager. That is a beast. Yeah,
Seager, yeah, I could
he has
see
the
them. I
beast
could see the
class
Dodgers
stuff.
locking Seager up without like a mention of a word, right? Like it'll just be like, oh, Seager, and then like that's one of those guys that like the day before opening day or like the night before, it's like, oh, 9-year extension, 310, and it's like, oh shit, like there goes Seager. Story's going at the deadline this year. You know that's going to be the biggest trade deadline acquisition for whoever if he stays healthy till July. So he's going to go at the deadline. Correa, my gut tells me he stays in Houston.
I think
Javi Baez
too,
is
but
out.
he's good, man.
No, I know. I think Houston will sign him. I think they'll lock him up. I think they'll work out a way. He was the first overall pick for them. They've done, like that was he was kind of a symbol of the turnaround in a way.
Right.
Because they drafted him first overall. First Puerto Rican player drafted in the first round in like how many years when it happened, something like that, or as first overall because Lindor came after him, Baez came after him. Baez is a weird case because obviously when he shows the greatness and the flashes of greatness and the smoothness and the artistry, it's like really intoxicating and cultivates like amazing things to watch. But
he's definitely less consistent than the other
I don't think he's the guy that you give that money to at all. And I think if you go in thinking, oh, he's going to be the guy, I think you're going to be kind of.
No, I mean, I would see that as a downgrade if the Mets don't re-sign Lindor or any team that's losing a shortstop. Kind of, well, you got to look at their situation, but out of that class, Lindor is probably the weakest. I mean, you also got Marcus Semien a little bit on the older side, but that guy's a beast too.
Well, didn't he just sign with someone? Didn't he?
He's a J now.
Oh,
but,
J.
But it's a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
Yeah, he's like a sabermetric classic. He's like the guy that like obviously he played for Oakland, but like he's one of those guys that like, don't worry, like we're just gonna get Marcus Semien instead. It's just not exciting.
That would be a Mets move.
Yeah, that's an old Mets move. That's like, oh yeah, we whiffed on all the big free guys, but we got Marcus Semien. He's like 33, and we gave him 40 million over 2. Oh, okay. But nah, yeah, I don't know. It's funny because years ago, a very good friend Ben asked me when all these guys were young, like rookies and stuff, or second year, it was Correa, Lindor, Seager. I think our topic of conversation was Correa, Lindor, Seager. Which one is the best? And I was like Lindor, head and shoulders. I mean, that's why I can't believe he's the one the Mets actually got. Like,
no, that's a game changer. Lindor is
an everything changer.
He's a star. He's a star.
I mean, he came out with his own shoe today.
Yeah, the New Balance.
Yeah,
making New Balance cool again.
Like, when's the last time a Mets player had his own shoe?
I don't know. I actually have no idea.
No,
but I think, I think he'd be a star. He'd be a star anywhere he goes. But I think being in New York, and especially if the team starts to win.
Oh, and he's 27. He's younger than us. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's wild.
I'll tell you what, that we probably talk about this a little bit later as well, or another day. But I'm biased, but I don't care. The Mets won the offseason, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, so what? Phillies ended up back with Real Muto. Springer to the Jays, Bauer to the Dodgers. Who were the other big ones? Cardinals getting Arenado. Cardinals getting Arenado is pretty big, but I'll take Lindor.
I mean, the favorite choice there is the Padres.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, it all happened so fast. I kind of forget. So who they get? Darvish, Snell, locked up Fernando.
They got I'll tell you right now. I just pulled it up. Blake Snell, Darvish, Melanson, Joe Musgrove from the.
That one. That's was the one.
Move, huh?
Yeah, that was the one where I said, yeah. That's the one I like the most because it's like, oh shit, you're just gonna start plucking people now. And like, yeah, that's exactly what they did. They got him for like next to nothing. Watch him break out because there's no pressure on him and he's surrounded by a bunch of other horses. Like, I like Snell. I've never been a huge Darvish guy. I don't know, something about him. I've just never really been a huge fan.
I don't know too much about this, but Ha-Sung Kim apparently is pretty good.
Yeah.
4-year deal for him.
Korean, right? Korean league. Yeah, right. I don't know. I can't say. I'm not going to comment. I've never seen the guy on the field of baseball, so I don't. Who knows? Could be a beast. Could just be. I mean, remember when Shohei Ohtani was Babe Ruth? Like, come on.
He is Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth was on the DL.
No, they should honestly. As much as I love seeing him hit bombs, because he hits bombs, and it's great to see like a Japanese player, like a modern day. He's a modern day Japanese player. It's not like the slap, kind of running
Oh, of course. Yeah.
kind of guy,
Ichiro, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Ichiro's another level, but yeah, I was comparing Noriaoki
right.
or
Yoshi Shinjo.
Yoshi Shinjo. There you go, my favorite Japanese player of all time. But he's a guy that has power. He has
he's a big dude. He's like a physically big dude, which is like
But as much as I like seeing him hit, if he's just gonna get injured all in all, especially since he's throws righty and he swings a heavy bat lefty.
Yep.
Like I think they should just move on to the rotation. That's what they need.
Oh, right. For their team need, right. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
as a baseball fan,
yeah.
Let them do both. But as if I was the Angels, I'd be like, hey,
yeah, I have a feeling that
I'll pay you more to just pitch.
That's the thing. If they come with the money and say that's what I bet it is, because he's still under that weird, like still in arbitration or whatever, like he's not making that much money. Like
no, he could have waited and gotten millions and millions and millions.
No, I know that. That's what I mean. Like he's still under the restricted thing, meaning like he took that early so that he could try and prove that he's going to do both, so that when it did become free agent, it was like, whoa, he can really do both, like 500 million, like, but bro, like there's a reason guys don't do both at this level. Like
this day and age where when Babe Ruth was playing, he was tossing it at 78 probably, like
yeah, and you want to talk about social issues and segregation. Yeah, he was playing a bunch of other just white guys. Like,
yeah, can you imagine?
Come on, the athleticism overall of just everyone, it was literally not open to everyone to play. So it's like, yeah, so I don't know, but it's just, yeah, the game's too intense. Pitching is hard enough for the best of the best of the best. And then you got to focus, and then on the days you're not pitching, you're focusing on scouting reports of pitchers to try and hit them. When are you doing your research as a pitcher to try and get the other hitters out? Like there's only, you only have so much time.
Well, another team that people say won the offseason is the Dodgers, obviously. They got Bauer, they re-signed Turner. They got
the Turner thing doesn't move the needle for me. I like, Bauer, good for them. Great. Let's see. But you know what? Let's see everyone stay healthy for more than a 60-game season.
That's fair.
Especially when they already won the ring. That there's always a lull. There's always a quote unquote hangover of guys. It's human nature. They won it. Like that edge is gone.
You got the Braves signed Charlie Morton, which I know he's older, but
solid. Yeah, he's solid.
And they're not asking him to be the ace. They're asking him to. They have so many young pitchers with Soroka, Ian Anderson, Max Fried. Like they have so many great young guys that to have a veteran like that who's won, I think it's scary as a Mets fan.
Innings eater.
Right.
I know. I could see him like no hitting the Mets.
Yeah. Drew Smiley, which I think is a sneaky move.
He's good. He's pretty good.
Where
does Zuna go?
Back to the Braves.
Oh, they did sign him.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. Definitely good. I mean, if Acuna takes even a further leap, like if he like is really consistently balling every day for a full season, they have him on what looks like a bargain deal at this point.
Right?
Yeah. Albies is good. I like Albies. Yeah, I mean, they're good. I mean, obviously Freeman. Who do they have behind the dish?
Our guy, Darno.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Duh. No. Oh God.
That's right.
Not non-tender Travis.
It's a classic Mets move. Look at Turner.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Dodgers did pick him up and they gave him to the Rays, and then the Rays gave him to the Braves or whatever. But
I have no idea how. I have no idea how the Pacoda stuff, and you know what? Nobody ever does, and
I know.
I'm too lazy.
And they never come to fruition.
Right, but what I'm saying, no one ever fact checks them. Like they're saying, "Hey, Pagoda had this the season, and it ended up not doing this or whatever." Like no one
Yeah,
ever fact checks. I wish that. Like I'm
because
too. I guess I'm
it's
too.
exactly what we're doing now. It's off-season boredom that just is like, all right, this is what's gonna happen, and none of it ever happens.
All right. So I mean, I think the Braves they had a pretty good offseason too. Though they didn't make too many moves, but they made like those hate to say it, championship moves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were the division winner, right? They won the division. Like,
Right.
after you win the division, you're fine. You're basically fine tuning, and
Right.
Morton is a hell of a fine tune right there. Like,
Hell of a fight.
so yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good division. I hope, should be, hopefully. I think it will be. I think, honestly, I think the Marlins aren't bad, man. I think that the shift happens. Shift happens somewhere along the way last year where they have a bunch of guys in there that are not afraid anymore. They're not mailing it in, and there's no like nonsense culture going on with whoever owned them before. So I don't know. We'll see.
No, they're Jeter's building a good culture. Remember, I told you this. I think it was you and me that talking about that. You were when they shipped out all of their guys. I said, trust the process.
Yeah,
you
true.
need to. They're not going to win, so might as well ship out all the guys.
Oh yeah, no, that core obviously was broken the second Fernandez died. That was it.
Right.
That was it. You can't try and keep the band together after that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hate saying like who won the offseason. I mean, the Mets made the biggest splash, but guess what? We also have like one of the thirstiest fan bases, like, I mean, the Padres on paper, though, I'll give it to the Padres because of Snell, Darvish locking up their guy and, the bullpen stuff that they did. Melanson's good.
Imagine they had Clevenger. I mean, he's out for the year, but imagine, Jesus.
Oh, is he gone for the whole year?
Right.
Steve Clevenger is gone for the whole year, but they still have Mike Paddock, right?
Mike Clevenger.
Mike Clevenger. Yeah, who's Steve Clevenger? Weird. Yeah, Mike Clevenger. Whatever. The guy with the long hair and the tattoos.
We'll circle back on
troublemaker.
Okay, so one thing that was brushed off to the side too this offseason is nobody in the Hall of Fame. For first time since 2013. I remember where I was when nobody got voted in. I
was just gonna say we definitely were immediately texting each other like, "Yo, what is this nonsense, dude?
What's going on here?"
Yeah, I had the similar feeling this year when I saw it break when the news broke. I was like, "Yo, I remember exactly what we did last time, and last time it was such an atrocity. We said that we weren't going to do this anymore because before that, I think was 95. Yeah. So I think it was an 18-year gap as opposed to now 8, but." It's a sad, pathetic state of affairs, and it absolutely sickens me to the core that they're not. I mean, forget the fact that our guys are not even in Bonds and Clemens and the guys that we watched that the reasons that we're basically fans, but like at this point, we haven't changed the process or the actual museum hasn't stepped in and said, yeah, you know what? I don't want any of you guys deciding. Like, how has the museum not said, wait, the quality of our museum is now not up to full quality?
What I don't get is that they have these guys' stuff in the museum, like Bonds' stuff is in the museum, Clemens' stuff is in the museum.
Right. So you're just withholding them from the plaque and the name recognition of this guy as a Hall of Fame. Like, that's a joke, dude. And then you put in other guys, like, no disrespect, but like Tim Raines, man. Has there ever been one person, fan, player ever who's been like, yo, I'm a huge fan because of Tim Rock Raines? Like,
I work a lot in Canada, so some do say that there, but that's about it.
Okay, all right. So, but he even has the Canadian, like the Canadian angle. Like, I mean, dude, okay, a better one because he played for 80 teams and for 100 years. Harold Baines.
I knew.
There's not one person on the planet who's like, yes, like I would have never played baseball or gone to a game if it wasn't for Harold Baines. Like, dude,
good player, but yeah,
an all-time like solid piece. Like, oh great, Harold had a great year this year. He hit 30 something playing DH like for like the Texas Rangers or something like lame. Like never won anything. It just, dude. I mean, like Bonds. It's not like Bonds had like 2 really good years. Like the dude had 7 MVPs, got the most homers of all time. Like, what? Clemens, 7 Cy Youngs.
You know what's crazy? Like there are probably users of like performance enhancing.
Of course, dude.
You had people from like this. You have a who's the guy? Gaylord Perry.
Admitting to doctoring balls and cheating and doing basically every player admits to, yeah, we had to get an edge, so we did X. Did they catch me? Not always. What happens? You got caught. Oh, I served my time on suspension and then I came back. Great. Because it's that hard of a game. There is not one thing that you can do that's going to be, it really is not a magic potion or a magic switch. It's not yes or no. It's consistency. It's the pursuit of constant consistency and 70% failure when you're really good. Like it's ridiculous to think. And also there were not like a ton of like clearly written, clearly decided on, collectively bargained rules either. So
that's the biggest thing too.
That's like, my biggest issue.
I think for Hall of Famers especially, you gotta look at them at their time. Yeah.
Right. Like if like let's say it comes out that like Pujols, like for all of his time, and he played in these 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, when it was really starting to get vilified and really started to get written down like, no, you cannot do this. If you do this, you are a cheater. And it comes out that this guy was like literally just injecting, and they have videos of him doing it, and he's like, yeah, like this is what I do. Then it would be like
hypothetically, yeah.
Right, yeah, this is all just like if this happened, like then it would kind of be like, whoa, that's egregious, you clearly went against the written rules. But like, dude, taking stuff and then working out and getting yourself strong, like even if you're like, is that going to make you hit a fastball? Like, I doubt it.
Plenty of guys that did it and just
yeah. How many guys in the minor leagues like spent all of their 20s shooting stuff into their body, doing massive damage on their internal organs, but then they still couldn't make it. So then they retired and they were just in roid rage for their 30s. Like, like I'm telling you, this definitely happened of guys you've just never heard of.
So next year you got Kurt Schilling, who, yeah, was the closest, 71% heading to his final year. Barry Bonds heading to his final year. Roger Clemens. Final year.
It's already their final years.
Yeah, 10 years. And then you got
they lowered it. That's right.
Yeah, you got Sammy Sosa, who had only 17%.
Dude, I was just year. Yeah. I was just explaining to my dad about Sosa the other day because he gets so lost in the shuffle because he never had the record. But like, my man hit 60 in 4 different seasons, I think.
Like, he was a star. And playing in Chicago at the same time Jordan was king of Chicago.
Yep.
He was a star. He was one of my favorite players growing up. Like he's one of
still
like
is.
You said, he's one of the reasons that I started loving baseball was Sosa and his little hop. You know,
and the hop and the chest thing, doing that, and then after 9/11 sprinting out. I mean, like you can't watch him sprint out to right field and not like cry. Like right. It's just with the American flag, like it's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, and then you watch the documentary, the summer of '98 documentary of him and McGuire, which
summer with ESPN.
Long Gone Summer, ESPN 30 for 30. Like, I mean, I remember watching the McGuire. I remember seeing the moment live, watching it with my dad, being like, whoa, like a home run record. Like, why is this such a big deal? But then you rewatch that documentary and you see how the people were just ravenously consuming the product in those times, and the time before internet, before anything, where it was like, let's go watch. You weren't on your phone at the game saying like, oh, I want to go to the sweet like concession stand, I want to go to Shake Shack. Like, nah, you were sitting locked in the seat and you're like, yo, I hope this guy hits a bomb. And they were hitting bombs every day.
You were locked in your seat during batting practice.
Yeah, and these guys were just going deep almost every game. And it was like, and if they didn't, it was like, oh, like we got to come back tomorrow because then he's definitely going deep. Like,
you look at the stars of that era, it's Ken Griffey Jr.,
yeah,
Barry Bonds, hitters wise,
yeah,
Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. So like, there's those 4 are together.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. Like, and not even to detract from Larry Walker, who was a borderline Hall of Famer, but he's in now, and like Larry Walker's in there. He might not have even been the 4th best outfielder off the top of my head. If you're going Bonds, Griffey, Sosa, I would honestly take Manny Ramirez over Larry Walker. Like
Indian days, yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here, man? It's just so confusing, and we are all at least lucky enough to have seen and remember them play. So in our heart of hearts, they'll be in our Hall of Fame. But like, what happens in 20 years when like all of the kids and all of the young people, like they will literally have no idea unless they're just watching highlights on YouTube and we're telling them about it.
I just don't get the punishment of it, these writers are
Personal beef.
well, that too, but these writers, a lot of these writers are just punishing them for that. Like, why? You wrote about them. They gave you a job.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. They give you stuff to write about rather than like, well, we had to watch a bunch of like replacement players play and do really terrible sports. I think I'm gonna go become like a mechanic because this job sucks. Like it's so lame. And Schilling's a good example because like obviously whatever he says is just just some people should learn how to just be quiet. But like
You
how
Schilling.
at 2004, bro, like how like the greatest comeback, one of the most hype moments ever, like doesn't happen without him. You gotta recognize him.
If there was a way to enshrine him in the Hall of Fame for his accomplishments, but just not let him speak because I have no desire to hear him speak.
Oh yeah, of course not. No, of course not. Anyone who retires and continues to thrust themselves in the spotlight to speak that much about anything, even whether they're selling a product or giving their 2 cents on any literally anything, unless you get a paid job as a broadcaster and you're speaking about the sport. Oh my God, get a hobby, bro. Like it's just like fly a plane. Like
Yeah, I mean, uh,
I don't know.
obviously his accomplishments are his regular season accomplishments are kind of borderline.
Yeah. Oh, he's borderline. He's borderline.
But
He's
his
not a
postseason,
shoo-in.
but his postseason numbers is kind of what pushes him. And if you're gonna put some of these Yankees that were in for postseason, just because of their postseason, obviously.
And I do think because it's such a like this is a game of legends and a game of like allure and stories and like so much I call it like the X factor. So like if someone has the same numbers as Schilling and even in the postseason, but like there is no bloody sock and there is no like 3-game comeback, 4-game comeback against the Yankees. Like
MVP.
Yeah, like then it's like
the Diamondbacks.
Right, exactly. Yeah, co-World Series MVP a couple years before that, beating the Yankees again. Like, so this guy was a giant slayer in the biggest moments. Like, he has that X factor. He's not just like, whoa, he played for 30 years, so he got like 300 wins almost. Like, no, that would be lame. Like, and he played for the Orioles the whole time and never saw the postseason. Like, it's tough. Yeah, no,
I feel like these guys just aren't gonna get it though. Like, these guys,
they're not.
Maybe Schilling. Because
no, he won't. Not after he came out and said, "Don't put me in."
I don't think the writers give a crap about that stuff. But like, they
care about what he says the other times, but then not that because they're so pick and choosy. It's true. They're the worst.
I follow him and I don't know why on Twitter. Like,
oh yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah,
but,
the worst.
I mean, they did put Ty Cobb in the first class of the Hall of Fame, so I think that whole character thing goes out the window.
Yeah, I mean, you also had the 30s where you had 2 different water fountains.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so confusing, but
so you got next year. You got a pretty good class. Some really good names from our sort of youth, our era. But you got some notable names here. Jimmy Rollins, I think Hall of Famer.
Okay, I don't know if it's that.
I think it's uncool.
That's funny because I named him before off the top of my head of a really, really good player, but I don't.
I see him. Oh, is it shortstop for what he did? 30-30, like
MVP 30-30, but like, did he do it enough? Like for me,
I think he was solid.
He's close. He's definitely in the combo. He's definitely worthy of votes. I don't know if I'm shooing him in on the first year, but who else?
Mark Teixeira.
No. Big no. It was never even the best player on his team. Absolutely not.
When he was on the Braves, he was probably the best player of the Rangers.
No, he had a couple good years of the Rangers, got traded to the Braves, and it was all like, oh, I went to Georgia Tech. Like, I'm from. Didn't really do that well there. Got shipped off to the Angels, where, you're supposed to be a big bop over there. Didn't really work. Gets the big deal from the Yankees in a loaded lineup with freaking A-Rod and Cano, and talk about juiced up. Like, and he sat in the middle of that lineup. I mean, no way, no chance. And he was a first baseman, and he's an asshole. Like, no way, dude.
I don't know about asshole, but
No, he's a jerk to people. That's pretty well documented.
well, next two.
Hansel Robles has a word for him.
It's your guy.
That's my guy.
So let's talk about A-Rod. He's up, and David Ortiz.
Yo, oh my God, it's been 5 years since A-Rod retired.
And David Ortiz too.
Holy shit. Well, they're both shoe-in Hall of Famers, and those are the like roll out the red. I can't believe it's been 5 years already.
So that's why I think Shilly might go in with Ortiz.
Oh, that would be an awkward press conference. Those guys.
You have two Red Sox legends from the same.
No, I know, but these guys probably don't fuck with each other at all anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, A-Rod and Poppy, that would be so perfect if they both went in at the same time. Those should be the two.
Fox would love it.
Those should be the two, I think. If of any of the new
with
ones,
Bonds and Clemens, you know who's
obviously with Bonds and Clemens, like Bonds and Clemens should be in. I mean, we kind of know that they're not going to, just based on the trends, unless every writer says, all right, it's their last year, we made them wait the maximum, go. But I don't know. I don't have faith that A-Rod or Ortiz will get in. Not A-Rod, dude. People hate it. A lot of people hate A-Rod.
He has the biggest comeback of all time.
He did, but also that momentum.
He worked hard on that. Like
I know.
Hired a PR agency and did his thing.
But I do feel like the momentum of that comeback has definitely slowed a little bit. He definitely rubbed some people the wrong way with the Mets thing, the Mets purchase, and all that like media game, which is fine. That's not everyone, but there are definitely polarized people that, especially these writers who can't handle anything like that, are just never going to vote for him. They're just never going to vote for him.
That's true.
That's the best player in the room, and he was probably not a nice guy for a lot of it. It was probably very self-centered and egomaniac, where that rubs a lot of people, especially like writers, the wrong way.
But what a stud. Roy's not. What a stud.
Dude, like the guy. Like, who do you want to be when you grow A-Rod? Like shortstop, like 50 bombs, like 01, 03 Texas A-Rod. Just so used out of his mind.
Also 05, 07 A-Rod.
MVPs. I mean, played well in that one postseason that they won the World Series. That was his only postseason that he played well. But that's a knock on him.
I think Ortiz came second in 05 to A-Rod, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. And also Pop.
He hit like 51 home runs that year.
Pap is the freaking first of all, the postseason king, 3 World Series, legendary epic moments, the shot off Rivera to just kick it off, to everything, to the Grand Slam in 2013. They were down by 4 runs in the 2013 World Series, and it's all like, oh, we're gonna lose. Gone. Like, oh, no. Okay.
He's a shoo-in. But these first ballot, second ballot, third ballot, biggest garbage. You're the Hall of Famer.
Rollins is an interesting case. I have to look deeper into his numbers before I say no. But I think if it's another case of a guy that, great, you're gonna slide him in there, and then I'm gonna watch A-Rod, who played the same position better for longer. No, come on.
That's fair. So sort of winding down, so we're at the hour mark, so we can run through some of these next 2 topics. Tatis 340 at 14.
I was surprised at the length, I'll be honest with you. When I first saw the breaking news,
hockey contract.
Yeah, when I first saw 14, I was surprised. Now he obviously is younger than like he's not 24 or 25 or like Lindor 27. Right? How old is he? 21 still? 22. So a little bit surprised by the length. But honestly, and this is not really trying to hate on the Padres, but I make the prediction. I kind of had the feeling initially, like there's 0% chance that he finishes that contract in San Diego. There's no way. There's no way.
Bold prediction.
Whether they trade him because they're just terrible and they're never going to win, and he's like, yo, I need to win, or things break down for whatever reason. It's just a long time to stay committed to an organization that has never, ever, ever had sustained success. Obviously, he wants to be the guy. Obviously, that's the intention, is he's the guy that changes it. But no matter how nice of a guy or how cool you are, how good or smart or the best player ever, like, see Mike Trout. Like,
I think he's got a lot more charisma than Trout, though.
Oh no, I know that definitely has more flair, more swag, whatever. But in the end, if your team sucks and it's prolonged for years, it's gonna weigh on him to the point. And he's got the no trade. He holds all the chips. You know.
I think the biggest winner of the Tatis deal is Juan Soto.
Yeah, because he's like just as young, right, or younger.
I think
He might be younger.
age or younger, but I think he's better.
Yeah, different position. So I mean, shortstop is more valuable than left field or right field, wherever Soto plays. But yeah, he's a better player, and he's got the postseason down. Like they already did win a ring, and yeah, he's a beast. The Nationals are weird with the money. You know, a lot of the times when they give the money out, a lot of it's deferred, and they've done that with everyone. They've done that with Scherzer. They're going to be paying Scherzer for another 10 years, or 5 or 6 years, even though he won't be pitching for them, like 30 million a year, something like that.
Jesus.
But so that might, like, if that's their style, like if the Lerner family only can do that because of their finances, that might drive him away. But no, if they say, yo, here's a 10, 12, 13, is it going to take 15? He'd kind of be a fool to not take it, I think.
He has to start at what? 360.
Yeah, I mean, then you break it down of like, you know, average annual value. Yeah, like if you're doing 15 years, like maybe the total is right. I mean, it'd have to be like 360, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That's just that seems like fake money. It's fake money.
So I think we'll jump to the trivia. So I think.
Oh yeah, I think we should. Yeah, we should end it with trivia every time. Yeah, that's good.
So one thing Nick and I will do every episode is try to stump each other with some trivia. So Nick, I don't know if you got a question here. I do. So do you want to go first?
No, you go for. I actually don't have a question.
So. All right. So I'll go first.
Because you usually have the good one. You always have the unique good ones.
All right. So this is a pretty good one. Which pitcher has given up the most career home runs? It's 522. I'll give you one hint. He is not even close to being the leading pitcher in either the American League or National League.
So this is all-time career home runs given up.
Correct.
And it's not like anyone of super consequence where it'd be like.
He hasn't, even despite being the most career, giving up the most career home runs, he's nowhere near the top of giving up the most career home runs in the American League, or nowhere near the top of being the most career home runs in the National League.
Oh, meaning he split his career American and National and gave up a bunch of home runs in both, but because he split it, it wasn't the highest. Oh, this is good. Oh, that's tough and good, and it's someone who played in both leagues. That's gonna be someone like who played forever, first of all. So like Phil Niekro or something, or Phil Niekro or Gaylord Perry, or one of those guys that like played forever for multiple leagues. Who else played in both?
You're gonna kick yourself. Not those two. I'll give you 2 more guesses.
No, because he played in just the National League. Who played for? I'm trying to think of like. Jamie Moyer.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, oh, nice. Because he played till he was 50. Oh my God, yo, that just kind of came off the top of my head. Wow, Jamie Moyer, huh?
Jamie Moyer.
Put him in the Hall of Fame just for simply playing so long.
And Julio Franco.
Yeah, that's the all-time squad. I think they could probably both still play.
I'm sure. But
wow, so he gave up the most home runs ever, but he obviously was never close. I mean, because he was a good pitcher.
He was, but he just pitched forever that he just accumulate those home runs.
Yeah, he's the ultimate compiler. Yeah. The ultimate compiler.
My first guess was Randy Johnson, actually, because he pitched in both leagues. And
I was about to that was going to be probably my fourth guess if Moyer wasn't it. I was going to say Randy because the same thing, both leagues for years, and in the era where guys were teeing off.
Right.
And he pitched a million miles an hour to the point where even if you kind of like half missed it, it probably went out. So
Exactly. So there you go. So there you have it. It is
that's good.
our first ever and
Opening day. It's official.
We'll
We're
admit to
officially
the
rolling.
audience that this is our first ever podcast ever. So hopefully everyone liked it. Hopefully, I think we I like to give you a high five because I think we did a great
Absolutely.
job.
I mean, we can kill an hour real fast around here.
Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about. It's gonna be a fun season. So
yeah, hype. All right, man. I'll talk to you. Signing off.
So signing off till next week. Brian
Absolutely.
Wagner
And Nick Diminich.
See you later, guys.